It being 7 o'clock, we will begin the Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020 Board of Selectmen meeting. I will start by reading into record Governor Baker's statement. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order concerning imposition of strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, meetings in the town of Oxford are being conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. So to start things off, we will take a roll call vote of the board members in attendance. We will start with Selectman LeBlanc.
Cheryl LeBlanc, Secretary.
Mike.
Selectman Daniels, present.
Mr. Sad.
John Sad, present.
And Megan Troiano, present. And I do believe that Dennis is absent tonight. So that being said, I will hand it over to our town manager for our Employee of the Year award.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you to all of the guests who are attending this evening. As you can see, we have a lot of employees who are here this evening. And as you can see, Tim Labonte is putting up our Time Magazine Employee of the Year mock-up. Has been always a lot of speculation, I think, whenever you have to make a decision about people's performance. We have wonderful employees who all work very, very hard and are very dedicated. And they go through reviews from their department heads all the way up to the town manager. And I started this as a way of trying to give employees also the opportunity to see one of their peers be recognized, not just by the town manager, but really by the community itself. And the only way to really do that is to see how people perform on a regular basis, day in and day out. And when I had started this, we usually give this recognition with distinction at an annual holiday party. And because of COVID, we were not able to do that this year. I did not want it to go by just because we couldn't have a holiday event to bring all the employees and boards and commissions together. I thought it was really important, particularly because of this year with the pandemic, that we think long and hard about where we started out on January 1st of last year, where we're ending on December 31st. And during that time period, I've had an opportunity to watch all of our employees really give their best effort and really try to work within a totally new routine on an everyday basis. And so when I think of Employee of the Year, as you know, last year our DPW director was awarded this. I think about how do each employee reflect on the kinds of work that they do, and to look at it not just in terms of something that happens in a very short time frame. For example, I look to see how employees overall deliver customer service, not just to residents and businesses that come to visit the town department that they might work in, but also how the employee actually acts towards the customers that they work with every day, and those people who they look up to as well. And when I think of customer service, I always look at it on a much longer trajectory. You can have isolated incidences where people are really great at what they do, and you can have long-term things that people do. So I look at customer service over a long period of time. I also look at what that individual brings to the table when they do their job. Do they do just enough to get by, or do they really step up and provide leadership? And do they look for leadership opportunities, not only for themselves, but how to improve their department? And so this particular individual has done that as well. And this particular individual has no idea that we're going to award this to them this evening, because a third characteristic that I look for Employee of the Year would be how not only they provide that leadership that they have within themselves, but how they step up, particularly in very difficult moments of need, and perhaps also extend that hand across other departments to try to be helpful. And in this year in particular, when we've all been dealing with COVID, I've really reflected long and hard about some individual who was able during a very difficult time period in a department that soon was vacated with their leadership, and that was considered an essential service provider. And there was no one better, I think, to be able to step into this role. But regardless of stepping into this new leadership role, this individual also continued to be able to extend that hand, that helping hand, to another department during what was then considered to be their most difficult time of the year. So this person has actually taken two departments through very tumultuous time periods, and they've been able to reflect on that, I think, greatly by the type of feedback that they get every day. The Employee of the Year this year is none other than Laura B. Wilson. And I know I'm watching her now, and I know she doesn't know that because she is so humble. And she is also somebody that has not only worked between two departments to make sure our senior citizens are taken care of, but also during one of the most difficult time needs, made sure the town clerk's office continued to be taken care of, coming in at 6 o'clock in the morning, on weekends, at night, working very closely with our assistant town clerk, who also went yeoman beyond yeoman's call as well. But this is a very difficult choice whenever you have to make it. And I look at the fact that Laura has had so many comments come from our seniors about what she's been able to do at the actual senior social center. And it's really quite remarkable that during a very dark and dismal time for most residents, that she has been able to reach out and not only provide that service, but to enhance it. And I think all of the employees who know her will be so happy to understand that she is the recipient this year. And I know that everybody at the Oxford Food Shelf will be very excited to understand how this person, who does all of the work that she normally does in a given day to improve the town of Oxford, she also has a very important community benefit that she provides by working closely with the Oxford Food Shelf. And so this evening, even though she's presenting on another item, I wanted you to see this, Laura, because this is going to go up on your wall somewhere, whether it's at home or in your office as our assistant director for the Senior Center and Council on Aging. And it reads, and it's really quite beautiful. It's a beautiful mahogany, gold embossed award. And it says 2020 Employee of the Year, Laura B. Wilson, in recognition of outstanding service and dedication to the residents in town of Oxford, given this day, December 22nd, 2020. I want to tell you that I have my heartfelt congratulations, and I know that you have a number of employees here who may also want to reflect on that, but I wanted to at least be able to state this very publicly with the support of our Board of Selectmen, who I think all would also be very moved to know that you are the recipient this year. And with that, Madam Chair, I wanted to at least open the meeting with that and see if Laura B. Wilson has anything to say as well. Thank you very much.
Wow. Well, thank you very much as well. I'm kind of totally caught off guard. I thank you. That's all I got so much going on in my life right now, and that's just a huge bright spot. And thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That was a very nice presentation, Laura. Congratulations. You're certainly a wonderful employee for the town of Oxford. We are absolutely lucky to have you. I will open it if there's anyone else that would like to say anything before we move on to the next item.
Madam Chair,
Go right ahead.
Laura just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for all that you do. It's been a difficult year for sure, in a lot of different ways. And we appreciate your dedication and your kindness and positive attitude for the town of Oxford. It is not unnoticed, and just wanted to say thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Madam Chairwoman,
Go right ahead.
I'd like to also congratulate Laura for her outstanding services to the community. I think the manager made a very, very wise choice in selecting Laura. It just goes to show how dedicated our employees are. Those of us who've watched Laura over the past several months, especially during these trying times, understand how important it is to have dedicated individuals putting in that extra effort in those extra hours to make this government work properly. Laura, thank you very much for your services, and have a happy, healthy holiday.
Thank you, John.
Madam Chair.
Go right ahead.
Also, likewise, just congratulations. I know it's well deserved. Just keep going on with what you're doing, and it's always nice to see you. You always have a smile on your face whenever I'm coming through. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Mike.
Madam Chair? Madam Chair?
There we go. Go ahead, Chief Sad. Sorry, I couldn't get it go.
Okay, I'm glad we got each other now. Laura, congratulations on behalf of all the membership at the PD. I think it's a great choice. Every time I have called over there and needed your assistance, you've been more than helpful. So well deserved, and congratulations.
Thank you, Tony.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Chief.
Thank you. Yes, to echo Chief Sad's comments on behalf of the men and women of the Fire and Emergency Services Department, we're very proud of your selection. We appreciate everything that you do day in and day out for us and for the citizens of the town. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Laura, you also have some accolades in the chat box as well, if you haven't noticed it down below. It looks like Brittany and Laureen commented some congratulations to you as well.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations again. We are so lucky to have you. And it looks like
It's
On
so
our-
hard to do this. We normally would have some kind of applause. And so if we could everybody just for once to unmute ourselves and all clap for Laura, I think it would be wonderful to do. Could we do that, Madam Chair?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And then it looks like the next thing that we have is the recognition of our retired Board of Health agent, Tom Purcell. I don't know if he is here yet.
I see his daughter and I don't know if he's unmuted. He might need to do *6 to unmute, Madam Chair. If they're on the telephone, they'll have to do that. Otherwise, we won't be able to hear them. Oh, maybe he's coming on now. Julie, I don't know if Tom is on your phone or not. I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I just wanted
Go right ahead.
try to troubleshoot this. Hi there, Julie. I'm just looking to see if your dad happens to be on here. I can see a lot of telephone numbers and I don't know if he is or not. Do you happen to know that?
I know he's been trying to get on.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
He might be dialing the wrong number in. Okay, so hopefully he'll come on.
I'll try him. I'm gonna get off and then I'll get back on.
So maybe, Madam Chair, we could go to the next item and then come back to this, if that's all right with the board?
Yeah, why don't we jump to the Council on Aging Social Center update, and then we'll come back if he's able to join the meeting.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Laura, we're going to be talking next about the Council on Aging nutritional program and other updates. If you'd like to talk to the board about some of the leadership initiatives that have taken place at the social center, that would be terrific. And if anybody has not gotten there, and I'm going to hold that up too, gotten this month's coming meals, it's truly a great tribute to the nutritional planning, but I'll let you go and explain how you've actually pulled this together.
Sure, thank you. Well, we are blessed, I should say, to have Deb Bear as our culinary supervisor. She does a phenomenal job. I did write down some numbers. Deb started with us in September. We first started doing meals in October. In October, we served 158 meals. In November, we served 147 meals. And so far to date, and we still have one more week next week, we've served 141 meals to seniors and some town employees. We have a great group that comes in. We have a husband and a wife and a sister and a friend that come in. We call them the 4-pack. They come in every Tuesday, every Friday, and the husband, he says this is his favorite restaurant to go to. He looks forward to it every time, and he is just awesome. Everybody loves coming to our place, and Deb does a bang up job. She does it all. I mean, she shops, she cooks, she cleans, she does it all. Cindy and I are there we help serve, but other than that, Deb does it all, and kudos to her, because we get so many kudos because of her.
Madam Chair, I think Tim Labonte also has a little video he put together so that maybe we can inspire some other seniors, since we didn't have that nutritional program for so long, and it had become a budget priority previous year for a culinary supervisor. And now obviously the kitchen was completed, and now we have the ability to do this, but particularly during the COVID pandemic. So I think if you get an opportunity to see the video that Tim has put together, a media production thing, that might give you an idea of how much effort goes into actually doing preparation for a number of people with a one-man band, so to speak. I'll let Tim load that, which I think he's in the process of doing, and then we'll take a listen and see how it comes out. Enjoy. Thank you for that video. Madam Chair, we also have Deb, who is our culinary supervisor, who I believe is on the telephone. And if she can dial *6, maybe if the board has any questions or comments, she can be able to answer them along with Laura. But they put a lot of effort into this most essential service, which has really blossomed under the pandemic. And matter of fact, I was talking with the chairman of the finance committee today, who was talking about the fact that they have some renovations going on in their house, and they were actually looking at the lunch menu for January in case their kitchen is not done. That he said that he would be visiting the senior center for lunch because it's such a great bargain. So I just wanted to give Deb and Laura an opportunity to comment further if you would like.
Sure. It was certainly a nice little presentation, and it's nice to see that the kitchen's being used and that our community members are able to get nutritious meals. Is there anyone from the board who'd like to say anything?
Madam Chair, I have a couple of questions. Laura, if you don't mind. So are we delivering meals, or are we serving meals, or are we doing both?
Well, we do a little bit of both.
Okay.
Right now, most of our people come in and to eat in, except for actually today was our last eat-in day. We're no longer going to be doing eat-in starting going forward next week. Everything that we will be doing will be 100% takeout. We do have some seniors that would like to partake in our options, but don't drive, so they rely on our town van. So our town van goes and gets them, brings them to the senior center. They get out, they have their lunch, and then they bring them home. And we have a couple that we've just brought the meal to them. While we have people dining in-house, she'll run out and deliver their meal to them. So it goes, however, we average anywhere from 20 to 30 meals each day, each Tuesday and each Friday that we're doing it.
Got it. And is the Meals on Wheels program still around, or is this is separate from that, right?
Right. This is totally different. This is through the town. Meals on Wheels still is around. That's done through Tri-Valley, and that's all
right.
out of their Dudley location.
Got it. Okay. And is it open to the employees, or is it just to seniors?
No, we've actually opened it up to the to town employees. I sent out an email today with the menu to all town employees. The seniors get a little bit better price because they're seniors.
Yep.
And the town employees it's $7 for a lunch, and it includes your dessert too. You can't go wrong.
No, absolutely. How much do we charge the seniors? Is it a flat fee?
$3.
Oh, wow.
But most of them give us a $5 because they're like, oh, keep the change. She's worth it. We don't want to lose her. We don't want to lose Deb. So they all give us,
Oh, excellent. That's great. Excellent. I'm so glad to hear that kitchen being used.
Yes.
Really. So perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Any other board members? Okay, well, thank you again for your presentation, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And now it looks like we have Tom's daughter back. Is he coming?
I want to say, I think he's on.
He's on by telephone.
He's on by telephone. He just has to hit *6 to unmute himself. Tom, are you there? Can you hit *6 so we know you're here? I don't know if he can hear. Tom, you have to hit *6. Can you hear us? Oh, this Zoom, sometimes it just doesn't want to cooperate. Jen gave me the thumbs up that he's on the phone, but I think he's not being able to unmute himself. Okay. So they're going to check one more time before we try this. We could do the next item on the agenda while we wait, Madam Chair. It's up to you. It's just opening and setting the date for the annual town meeting and opening the town warrant for that particular town meeting.
Sure, we can jump to that while we figure out if he can troubleshoot
Yeah,
to be
I
able to
hope so.
participate in receiving his certificate. So it looks like we are at the point where we need to set the date for the annual town meeting and open the town warrant for the annual town meeting. It appears that the town moderator and finance director have concurred that Wednesday, May 5th, 2021 at 7 p.m. would work for them. And the school department has also indicated that the high school is available. So that being said, I would entertain a motion that the board set the date of the annual town meeting to be Wednesday, May 5th, 2021 at 7 p.m.
I make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Yes.
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 And I'll vote yes. That's 4 in the affirmative and 1 absent. So we have set the annual town meeting for Wednesday, May 5th, 2021 at 7 p.m. So by town charter, the warrant automatically closes 36 days prior to the annual town meeting. So that puts us at March 30th, 2021, because we've set the town meeting to be May 5th, 2021. So I would entertain a motion that the board open the town warrant for the annual town meeting to be, we can open that now, right? And then close it on March 30th, 2021.
Correct.
I make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Yes.
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 And I will vote yes. That is 4 in the affirmative and 1 absent.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Said.
before we move on off of this particular item, I'm wondering, are we still scheduled to hold this in the gym or in the auditorium? What's the status of this? I've got quite a few complaints about the gym and how difficult it is to hear. The seating isn't comfortable, so on and so forth. And I'm sure I'm not the only selectman that has heard negative comments. And I know we do it because of the COVID, but I'm wondering if we can take another look at the auditorium and maybe do some spacing there. I just throw this out for discussion.
Madam Town Manager, do you think it would be a possibility to see if we can socially distance?
We did that the first time based on what we thought we would have as a turnout. And because the rows were so close to one another, we had actually no less than probably 7 people, including our former DPW and facilities, all look at that. And we all had understood at the time, because of the restrictions for social distancing, that would not have worked out. However, I don't think by saying generally at the school, I think Selectmen said we have time, and hopefully, as we move forward with the actual vaccination programs, and also hopefully, with some easing of restrictions that are being imposed. Right now, as of today, we have a whole number of new orders for further restrictions back to what we were in the spring in some cases. So today would not be the day to set that. But I do think that just like we had to think out of the box to actually comply with the governor's orders, this board worked very diligently with the administration to try to get that to happen. No one knows how that would have turned out, aside from the audio issues of reverberation that you get in there, and the probably discomfort from heat at that time of year. I think we could always look at doing something in the auditorium, if not outside, if that becomes a plausibility, if the restrictions are still in force at that time. Let's hope and pray that that's not the case. And hopefully that will be in a different place in time. But I understand that nothing with regards to having, totally upended the way that we do an actual town meeting and the place that we do it was no easy feat. And it did have shortcomings, but one of the things we can say, at least, that we did keep people safe at that time, and we did have a pretty high attendance. So depending on what we have on the warrant and how much, attendance that generates, I think that will dictate where we actually can have it. But we have time to think about that, and I appreciate you bringing it forward at this time.
Thank you.
All right, so I see a phone that is unmuted. Does that mean that we have Mr. Purcell here?
Yes, I am here. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Madam Chair, I'm so glad to hear the voice of our, what will always be considered our Board of Health agent for years to come. I know that Selectman Daniels in particular had reached out to the chairman of the board, Dennis Lamarche, and I don't know if he would like to say a few words. I know that you, as a board, wanted to officially recognize Tom for his more than 40 plus years of service. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to take a look at what does it mean when you give yourself to a community in service. And Tom Purcell has had so many different appointments and services to so many different boards and commissions in town. It's really, really remarkable. And I guess, he does have some pinnacle moments for a service that we're going to acknowledge tonight. But Madam Chair, I know that it was brought through to the chairman of the board to us. And I know that you, along with Selectman Daniels, probably would like to speak a little bit about Tom's work on behalf of the town.
Sure. Before I open it to the other members, I do just want to present the certificate of recognition and read that into record, and then I'll certainly open it for anyone else that would like to give a few kind words to Tom as well. So our certificate of recognition is presented to Thomas Purcell. On the occasion of your retirement, the town of Oxford extends heartfelt appreciation for your dedication and outstanding service to our community for 43 years, most recently as Board of Health agent. The town manager and Board of Selectmen join with the citizens of Oxford to express our sincere gratitude. You have faithfully served our community by providing a plethora of essential services to Oxford's residents and businesses for over 4 decades. May you enjoy a healthy and prosperous retirement for many years to come. And it's from the entire Board of Selectmen and the town manager. Tom, it has been a pleasure having you work for this town for so long in so many different you're a man that has worn many hats here, and it is certainly sad to see you retire.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's certainly been a long road. I really appreciate the thanks. I thank everybody for the accolades and the opportunities to serve the town. I really enjoyed this roller coaster ride. It's been something that it's been a challenge, and I really enjoyed doing it in providing as much service as I could to the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Board members?
Yes.
Go
If I
ahead,
may.
Ed.
Yes, I'd just like to also take this opportunity to thank Tom. I've had the pleasure of being alongside Tom for those 40 some odd years and have had the opportunity to see his dedication to this community. And it has been unmatched by anyone that I know anyway. And I'd like to say that it's a difficult thing when you have to deal with the public in an enforcement manner. Sometimes you have to take a position that's in the best interest of the community. And in doing so, you get some repercussions and some negative feedback from certain individuals. And you're only doing your job, and it hurts. And I don't know how anybody that's in enforcement can continually take criticism for doing their job and doing it 100% properly. But Tom has held up. I don't know how he's done it, but he's held up over all these years. And I'd like to personally thank you, Tom, for all that you've done. And you know what? There's a lot of people that are new. There's a lot of new members of the board. There are a lot of new members of many boards in this community. And there's a lot of people that watch these meetings that don't even have a clue of some of the positions that you've held. Could you please just give us an overview of the committees you've served on and the departments you've been involved in? I would appreciate it if you would do that to enlighten the citizenry of Oxford.
Well, my long history of involvement started back in 1977 when I tried to apply for a position on the fire department to add some excitement to my resume. And being a firefighter was the thing. Unfortunately, at the first time, the town manager told me I was crazy, threw me out of his office. But a week or two later, they called me back in and said, okay, if you really want to do it, that's fine. And from then on, it's been fire department, ambulance, rescue squad, Board of Health, planning board, now currently on ZBA, on a few other committees around town. And it's a pretty broad brushstroke that I love doing, love being involved at the town level. Loved it. Thank you.
Good job, Tom. And there's quite a few more things that you could mention. I know that you've also served on the recently on the town manager selection committee. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I know there were a couple of more, and I know it would take too long to go through all the involvement. You go back to the Founders Day celebrations where you volunteered your services then. When you were involved with the fire department played a big role in making the Founders Day events yearly a huge success. So there are a lot of things that you've been involved in, and I know it would take forever and a day for you to go over everything that you've done, but at least you've given a little bit of light so that people have an understanding of your dedication. And it certainly has been appreciated. And I personally appreciate everything you've done for the community, and I wish you well and good health in the future. Thank you, Tom.
And thank you very much, Mr. Sad.
And would just like to recognize Mr. Purcell. I've only met you since you were a Board of Health agent, and I know you took quite the beating doing your job there, and it was very appreciative. It's like Selectman said, it's an unthankful job, especially during these times. What you had to do your job was tough. I know it was tough for you. It was tough for your family. It was tough for the town. But it was the right thing to do. And at the end of the day, you were just doing your job. But also, you know, the list that you just went through, I've heard stories. You know, you've done so much for this town in your over 40 years. Everything from EMS to the fire service, to all the other committees that you've been part of. And I feel like you saying that you were part of the fire service, you're kind of downplaying that a little bit. I heard you were a chief officer in town. that is huge in the fire service to achieve the rank of a chief officer in the fire service. I've also heard stories of your time in the fire service. One story in particular about a lumberyard fire in town quite a few years ago, well before my time, where you were the fire chief on scene and the front facade of the lumberyard collapsed, and you redirected a fire stream, had one of your probationary firefighters, I think it was, redirect a fire stream so that you could actually go into the fire and dig out some of your firefighters. So I know you're a hero in town, even though you may not want to be told that or whatnot. I know you saved lives on the fire service. And those lives that you saved in the fire service, you mentored them and motivated them to become members of the fire service today. One of which is another family member of one of our Board of Selectmen members, the brother of, was it Dave Cady was one of those firefighters that you helped dig out of the rubble? I believe it was one of the people. What I'm trying to get at is that I know that you have molded the lives of many people, to include your own family. Your daughter is also a public servant. Your son is also a public servant. So you've affected many lives in your time of service. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may, I know that we have a very beautiful proclamation that the chairwoman has just read to you. And if we were here in person together, with each retirement, we started to do a very nice recognition of an award as well that comes from all the employees, the board, and the town manager. And I'm going to hold it up because you got to find a place, either here or in Florida, to put this lovely award. And it has the town seal on it. And it says, "In grateful appreciation for your 43 years of service to the town of Oxford, Thomas P. Purcell, you have devoted yourself to the Oxford's public safety, Board of Health, inspectional services, and many other critical service areas. As you retire, may you be proud of all that you have done, the person you are, and the difference you have made from 1977 to 2020 this year." Congratulations, Tom. Like everyone has said, you've been a wonderful, wonderful contributor to this community. We miss you. We miss the comedy that you can inject humor in some difficult situations. I know that you've been somebody who has taken your role very seriously in all of the different positions you've held. And Oxford is so much better for it. And we hope you enjoy all of this wonderful time on your hands. And I'm sure that your children and your wife really appreciate having you around a lot more than you were in the last 10 months as we've been dealing with the pandemic. So congratulations and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you very much. My wife wants to know if you have a job available for me. No, really, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the thoughts and the well words, and I will definitely enjoy my retirement. I can't wait to get down to Florida as soon as the weather breaks, or after the holidays, and we'll take off for a little while. Probably the most fulfilling thing was to watch some of the people that were on all the different services and areas that I worked, and they followed into those areas. I guess I must have had some type of an impact, or I hope I did. Either that or they wanted to do better than I did, which is fine. My son's in the fire service, my daughter's in public health. What more could I ask for?
Madam
And
Chair?
there,
Oh, go ahead, Chief.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to interject. I know Selectman Daniel said quite a bit about Tom and his service, and I just wanted to add this to it. You know, Tom, you've served as the public health agent in a defining moment in world history. There's no question about that. And it's been a pleasure to work alongside with you during this pandemic. As a fire chief, as a fellow fire chief and consummate public safety professional, you epitomize the Jeremy Bentham concept of a leader who's dedicated to doing the greatest good for the greatest number. And I think that needs to be said. And I've certainly seen it. That's what you've always been about. And I'm proud of our association and friendship. And so on behalf of the men and women of the Oxford Fire and Emergency Services, we want you to know we wish you all the best in your well-deserved retirement. So thank you, Tom. Thank you, Madam Chair.
thank you, Chief.
Okay, well, thank you again. I really hope that you enjoy your retirement, and if your wife wants to send you back, we'll take you.
Madam Chair,
Maybe after April.
Did any quit and then come back?
I feel like Brett Favre. I just don't know when to walk away.
Okay.
I'm well aware, Tommy.
Well, thank you again. And it looks like the next thing on our agenda is the 2021 Board of Selectmen meeting dates. Because the chair is not here for the meeting,
Thank you.
sorry about that. Because the chair isn't here for the meeting, I'm gonna pass that to the next meeting, but I will go so far as to setting the next meeting date as January 5th, 2021 at 7 p.m. And then we'll come back to this when we have the chair with us so that we can discuss as a board if there's any conflicts with the dates. Which then brings us to the town manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight, once again, we have placed at the top of the manager's report a COVID-19 update for the town of Oxford. Having just given the award for his retirement to our prior Board of Health agent, who has been a wonderful, steadfast leader, I am sad to report that our COVID cases in town have hit record numbers. And this was somewhat anticipated based on what we have been hearing from experts. Just to give the general public an idea, through all of the 9 months prior, we had a total of about 198 cases. And we gotten our active cases through the wonderful, valiant efforts of our public health nurses doing the contact tracing, along with our Board of Health agent doing all of the outreach to get people to comply with being as safe as possible with preventive measures. Having said that, that total of 198 was represented over many, many months, and we had reduced our caseload to 0. Within the last 5 weeks alone, we have doubled, more than doubled, that case, the overall total number of cases. We now exceed over 420 cases, and we had hit a record for the last 2 weeks in the overall terms of numbers of actual positive COVID residents in town. We now stand, as of last night, 86 active cases and over 420 cases. This has meant a lot of increased activity that both Kathleen Schumer and Amy Granette have had to take on, and as well as my office in trying to coordinate with them. We want to continue to just caution people in everything that they do. We know it's the season of giving. We know that people are used to being with their families. But what we're seeing over and over again is an abundance now of household transmission to family members. whole families are actually getting infected and coming down with it almost simultaneously. So we just want people to be as cautious as possible. Having said that, as you know, it's been in the news about COVID-19 vaccines. The Department of Health is working with a vaccine advisory group, and they've developed a timeline for this vaccine. There are 3 phases. As you look into your actual binder, you will see some of those phases are in order of priority based on who are essential workers, and then eventually goes out to the public. So phase 1 is looking at clinical and non-clinical healthcare workers, long-term care facility workers, public fire and emergency personnel, congregate care settings, home-based healthcare workers, and healthcare workers doing non-COVID facing care. Phase 2 will have individuals that have 2 or more comorbidities, meaning they have an underlying potential illness which makes them more susceptible. Early education, K through 12, transit, grocery, utility, food, agricultural, sanitization, and public works and public health workers, also adults over age 65 and individuals with one comorbidity. And then in phase 3, that will eventually go out to the public. So we have quite a ways to go. I will tell you that the Department of Public Health every single day is updating us with new orders and also new guidelines on how they hope to actually administer the vaccine. For our first responders, the Department of Public Health had given us an opportunity either to become a site, but they were looking for a certain threshold of numbers of vaccinating individuals, or to actually join with another town to actually get our first responders vaccinated. So right now we know that the town of Auburn, through their fire and public safety division, is applying to the DPH to administer vaccines there. What I have talked with to our fire chief is, and I know that the fire chief has also been in touch with our police chief about trying to organize all of our emergency responders to participate in that particular site. They have yet to have further guidance for us as we go forward, but we have received guidance from our legal counsel relative to public sector employees and the receiving of the COVID-19 vaccine, and we'll be analyzing that guidance and with town council as we start to think about eventually how some of our other essential employees and what our requirements will be for employees when it comes to vaccination. But right now, I think the first and foremost, as these vaccines are starting to be distributed, whether it's through Pfizer or Moderna, we are going to find that our overall public safety personnel will most likely join in with over 200 other public safety personnel to try to get that vaccination as quickly as possible. We had heard different timetables coming out of both hospitals and also clinics, but now with the second type of vaccination vaccine available, we anticipate that that may be sped up a little bit more. Having said all of that, Governor Baker announced today that there will be a temporary reduction of occupancy levels across all sectors. The pause period is basically from December 26th to January 10th. This is asking from whether it's office businesses to a variety of different types of occupations that people in to actually decrease the occupancy load for people to be exposed to one another in particular building settings and offices to no more than 25%. So we're back to where we were in the spring because of the COVID surge that is now taking place as a result of Thanksgiving and what is anticipated to be a very, very difficult January as more and more cases come in. Additionally, indoor events are limited now again to 10 persons and outdoor events continue to be limited to 25 persons. Through all of this, it isn't just in our community. For the first time since the spring where we had 2 public safety officers who had been COVID positive, we've had a number of new COVID positive employees that have been quarantined, identified, and we have a number of first primary contact quarantines that are ongoing where the individual does not have COVID at this time, but is under quarantine. We are trying to do our best to make sure that we keep people safe. We have had some instances where employees have gone for tests, tested initially negative, and only to find out several days later that they have become symptomatic and test positive. So we're not immune as an organization that's delivering public services. We are also part of the community, and just like the community, we are experiencing, record highs for our incident level at this time. So Governor Baker has also just recently had what I consider to be a victory, and our Board of Health agent, I think, would echo that as well. The Supreme Judicial Court recently rendered a decision called DeRosa versus Baker, a case that was brought to the Supreme Judicial Court, one challenging the fact that the governor, who has been a real steward through this pandemic and has issued multiple emergency executive orders, some have said that that did not fall within his scope. Others, including our legal counsel, and obviously we used it in our court cases for non-compliance and enforcement over during this pandemic. The governor has asserted that under the Civil Defense Act from the 1950s, that during unprecedented emergency times, that he would have the authority to issue these emergency declarations and emergency executive orders. The Supreme Judicial Court upheld that, which is very important to us as we continue to exercise our responsibility to make sure businesses conform to the compliance measures, and also whether we have civil cases that are ongoing related to this. I do want to say that that particular case and the recent rendering from the Supreme Judicial Court shows that Oxford and the governor and a number of people who are trying to keep the public safe are on the right side of this issue and will continue to be. That case will continue, I'm sure, to be challenged, but at the moment, that was an important victory for those people who are trying to further public health measures across the state. The other COVID item has to do with emergency relief package. Tonight, we are hearing once again that Congress has finally come together with a $900 billion relief package, which includes $300 additional per week for all workers that are receiving unemployment benefits through March 14th, 2021. As you know, we've had our own employees that are no longer working with us. We have a lot of people who are unemployed across this town, and that will be very helpful for them to receive, and that is going to be part of this package. There is also going to be a $600 direct relief for individuals making up to $75,000, $1,200 for couples making up to $150,000, and $600 for each additional child dependent. This is really important because in addition to that, it has money, particularly for our schools, our healthcare, rental assistance, nutrition, which we have benefited from as we have applied for COVID CARES Act dollars in the terms of grant money. So we have more possibilities going forward, and we definitely will need them. And I think about all the different discrete actions we've taken to keep our first responders safe, to keep our seniors safe. All of those we have put under a broad umbrella for COVID reimbursement and grant funding. So the fact that the federal government is finally stepping in past December 31st, because all of this potential reimbursement was ending on December 31st. So as we go forward, we will continue to investigate and sign up for everything that we can to help reimburse for costs that are incurred related to our COVID preventive measures. I also wanted to, as part of my report, let the board know that our town planner and economic development director, Tony Sousa, who I see is on here by telephone, has recently undertaken the submission of an economic development local rapid recovery planning assistance grant. And this doesn't provide direct money, but it provides direct technical assistance for the economic challenges that small communities in downtowns, in particular in town centers, are experiencing. I know that he's highlighted both the short and long-term areas where this technical assistance could be very helpful. Again, this is an initiative coming out of the Baker-Polito administration, and I think it will be very helpful, particularly because we are already starting to see some of our small stores in town having been vacated by the impact of COVID-19, and we're going to continue to see curbside services happening. So I don't know, Tony, if you can hear, or if you can hit *6 to unmute yourself. If you wanted to speak to that particular grant program and what your ideas are in trying to help our local businesses in our downtown, that might be helpful for the board to hear. Could you hear me, Tony? No, I saw him on mute. I don't know, maybe we're so popular with all these people on that we're having audio technical difficulties. Could you hear, Tony, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Commercial, but that's all right. I'm glad to hear you.
Sorry. We applied for this grant, as you mentioned, technical assistance to assist small businesses. The grant itself is a planning grant, and essentially, to start the foundation to assess the further needs of assistance that small businesses in town will need. Hopefully there'll be implementation dollars down the road. In the interim, it's looking at, as you mentioned, how to strengthen the storefronts to include curbside retail delivery service, to assist with e-commerce and other aspects of that are critical for our small businesses and our storefronts. Hopefully, we will hear back from DHCD in the coming weeks with respect to that grant. And absent of that, there will be some additional funding opportunities through DHCD, through the Mass Downtown Initiative, which we'll also be exploring as well.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you for your continued outreach to our businesses in town. I know you have been making the rounds quite a bit, and I really appreciate that part of it. We look forward to the results when we can tap into that local technical assistance. Thank you again. The next item on the town manager's report is just to let the board know that despite the fact that we don't have a Board of Health agent at this moment, we have over the last several months had put out on a number of different websites and recruitment organizations looking to actually fill the position of the Director of Public Health Services, which was a strategic budget employment initiative this past year. I'm happy to report that we have not only conducted interviews, but we have also entered into the negotiation process, and we anticipate being able to announce a new first Director of Public Health Services, someone who has a great, terrific background. And we're hoping that this person will be able to work very closely with our Board of Health. I've also included our Board of Health Chairwoman as part of the interviewing and screening process. And we both concur that we think we're about to have retained an excellent individual to lead this entire area for both public health and Board of Health Services. The next item is just to let the board know, obviously on December 17th, we had our first real true major snowstorm, and our DPW and emergency services were really well prepared for this event, despite having a number of concerning moments with our staff in those areas relative to the pandemic. And I want to say that even though the storm was long in duration, the crews did work for hours, and their efforts didn't go unnoticed. And we had a lot of great local posts on Facebook congratulating our DPW for the work that they had done. So I want to thank you again. I've been over to the garage before the storm and after the storm, and I know that we're proud of the work that they can do to keep our residents safe. And let's hope that the rest of the winter isn't as snowy. That's just my one personal hope. So, and the last item on my agenda is just the holiday schedule reminder, is to let the board know that the town offices will be closed on Christmas, December 25th. And usually there's a half day on December 24th, and we have a number of staff who have the ability to elect to take and use some of their own time to actually take the whole day off. And because we have such a skeleton crew, and we're going to be moving in the direction of a one person, one office immediately after the holidays, we have decided among the management team to have town hall closed on December 24th as well. And of course, we have New Year's Day where we're closed. I just wanted the public to be aware of that. Thank you, Madam Chair, and that would conclude my report at this time.
Great, thank you. And that will bring us to Selectmen's requests. And we will start with Selectwoman LeBlanc.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have anything for tonight. I just wanted to wish everyone a happy holidays, and also to the residents. It's going to be a challenge this year, but we just have to make the best of it, and hopefully next year will be better. And just want to thank everyone for all that they do. And to my fellow board members, Merry Christmas. See you next year.
Thank you. Selectman Daniels.
Same thing. I really don't have anything to put out. Just want to congratulate Laura again and thank all the town employees that showed up this evening, gave their support. And same thing, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I'll see everybody in the new year.
Thank you. Selectman Sad.
Yes, I'd like to take this opportunity to also thank everyone who has made Oxford a better place to live and work this past year. And hopefully next year will be even brighter. I wish you all a healthy and happy Christmas and New Year's. And we will see you again in 2021. That's all I have.
Thank you. I actually have a couple of things. They'll be quick, I promise. First, I do want to just tip my hat. I know Jen mentioned it in her manager's report, but I wanted to tip my hat to the DPW for their outstanding job with handling the storm, staying on top of it, and keeping our roads safe. Once again, our roads were far and above better than all of our surrounding towns. So I wanted to say thank you to our DPW for that. Additionally, I happened to stumble upon a post online regarding Officer Aquafresca from the police department, who recently was given kudos for a job well done on the department for an incident that happened. And I also wanted to just acknowledge him and say thank you for coming back to Oxford, and for doing such a great job already. So I want to say thank you. Normally, the board likes to go to the pats on the back that they get, but because of COVID, we can't. So I just wanted to publicly say thank you to him. And my last thank you, Sunday, in the middle of the cold, snow, awful weather, the fire department did their Santa tour. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for doing it, but I wanted to specifically recognize the people that dedicated so much of their day to do that. Deputy Chief Belanger, Captain Lambert, Lieutenant Lambert, Firefighter Belanger, and Firefighter Holmstrom. It was supposed to go from 2 to 6. They actually extended it till almost 9 o'clock to make sure that they were able to get from the south end of town to the north end of town. Santa was out in the snow, in the ice, in the cold. They drove through the snow, in the fog. And I feel like people don't always acknowledge and really act truly grateful for the sacrifices that our departments make for us. And I wanted to say thank you so much for doing that, because I know it meant so much to the kids in town, especially this year of all years, to be able to see Santa on the fire truck. But I wanted to specifically thank those members who gave so much of their day in the cold to do that. And the last thing that I had was I just wanted to say to have a safe, happy, healthy, Merry Christmas, rest of the new year, Happy New Year, and we will see you again next year. That brings us next to the collective bargaining agreement discussion for the fire department. I am going to recuse myself from the discussion and actually leave the meeting, but I am going to hand chair over to Selectwoman LeBlanc. So she will handle the collective bargaining part of this and then also the adjournment of the meeting. I'm not going to come back just to adjourn the meeting. So again, thank you to everybody. And I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I'll see you next year.
Okay, so let's address, we're going to take the last item on our agenda, which is the town manager has presented to us this evening the package for the collective bargaining agreement that has been worked out between the town of Oxford and the local 4634 International Association of Firefighters. This contract is to go from July 1st of 2020 to June 30th of 2023. It was a last minute item that was placed on our agenda. However, it was, they have gone to town council. The contract has been reviewed by council and is ready for execution. It has been a priority for the town manager to have this contract wrapped up before the end of this year. In addition, the manager has spoken with town council who stated that it was acceptable for us to do an amended agenda for this meeting and a ratification vote of the item at the first meeting in January. By having the vote at this meeting, as opposed to waiting until January, we were able to cut retroactive payments based upon the negotiated contract rate prior to the end of the year. This email came out from Jen Warren Diamond. Madam Town Manager, I don't know if you want to explain that a little bit more to us as to
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, do you want us to vote on this evening and ratify it and then come back at the beginning of the year?
Yes, I mean, it's really a formality. I did want, and we had worked very diligently, despite COVID having put us back a number of negotiating sessions. I know Joanne Frederick, human resource specialist, and the chief, myself, and Katie McKenna, we've all been working as a team, but the tweaking of it with legal counsel after we had negotiated major items took a little bit longer. But I do know that regardless of it taking longer, the intention has always been for the increases that may come with a salary compensation plan to be retroactive. And knowing how difficult of a year it's been, all of our employees, despite the year, have all been acknowledged and received those kinds of increases. The thing here for this evening, there's a couple of things that I just want to highlight for the board. And then if they vote, then we will release those retroactive payments. And then you would vote a second time where it will be, you know, formally on the agenda again as a formality. Just so for the board's edification, that the union does not foresee any reason why there wouldn't be a supportive vote on their side. They are excited about this particular contract, and that just gives them a little bit more extra time as well. So this will get initially signed by the Board of Selectmen, and then eventually it will get signed by the actual union representatives. The thing here is our Human Resource Department has in anticipation of waiting to see when we got all of the formal amendments and edits from legal counsel. The anticipation was to get it out, and we just are going through our last pay period for the end of the year. There's a couple of pieces of information I think that are important with this contract. I think the big thing that we have done with the collective bargaining from the management side was coming up with a collaborative model with both Lieutenant Fitzgibbons and Lieutenant Lambert, who are both representing the firefighters and our EMS workers, to come up with some notion of trying to create a true market rate adjustment for this collective bargaining contract. I have done that with, as a manager since coming here, done market rate adjustments for every major department, particularly ones that have collective bargaining agreements, but also ones that don't, including the DPW. It's been something that we've needed to do. It keeps us with a continual ability to attract and retain employees. And in the fire service and emergency medical services, that's very, very important. There's very high competition for any type of filling of vacancies. And we need to make sure we're competitive with area towns. This contract.
Excuse me, Madam Town Manager, quick question. Do we have anyone from the union here this evening or no?
No.
Okay, all right, there you go. Sorry, thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so what I was gonna say is that we have done the market rate adjustments and along with the COLAs so that we can maintain an attractive compensation system that will allow us to continue to have longstanding employees for a number of years. The other thing, as you know, is another major priority we had from both the management side and from the firefighters side was the whole inability in the past to meet minimum staffing levels. And we have now committed to, in writing, minimum staffing levels of 4 persons per shift. That's a huge victory on the side of the firefighters, but honestly, it's a huge victory for the community because what it shows is that we as a community, both through our budgeting and through our commitment in collective bargaining, will honor having a full complement of staff each shift. This also allows us to have any firefighters who are incentivized, obviously, for living within our community or living close by within 15 miles of our community. Oftentimes they can be called back. We increased a minimum compensation for callback hours from 2 paid hours to 3 paid hours. There were little adjustments to our annual clothing allowance. There's some training pieces that were very important to the chief in terms of streamlining our education for our professional firefighters and EMS workers. And I think that in a nutshell takes care of some of the major priorities. Obviously, we've been at the negotiating table with all the finer details. So, but I would defer to the chief if he would like to say a few words about the contract, the process, and maybe we can both answer any questions that might be evident. I appreciate the attention. Thank you.
Chief, would you like to speak about this?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
No problem.
I'm very, I think we have a very, very good contract that is going to alleviate some of the, what we would call bleeding out of people. In fact, most recently with our hires, we actually, I think, had the first lateral transfer from one department to another. We had several that were interested. So this makes us more competitive with our similarly situated communities in terms of pay. I commend the president and the vice president of the union for the work that they did in researching this and working with us, and the town manager for bringing this to fruition. In terms of the training piece of it, I'm a big proponent of training and certification. They're not mutually exclusive. They're very much linked together. And working with the union, they have stepped up to the challenge of recognizing how important certification and training is, and also how important it is to us to not to have to spend money to train somebody again for stuff that they've already been trained and certified for. So the president, Dennis Fitzgibbons, could not be on the call tonight because he had a prior engagement. But I did, tell him that, about it. We do have, I believe, Captain Sellers is on the meeting. He's a member of the bargaining unit, but not one of the officers. But I'm very pleased with the outcome and the efforts that the manager put forth to really put us on a good footing to be competitive with other departments in terms of recruiting and maintaining the highly skilled level of people that we have.
Excellent, excellent. Mr. Sellers, Mr. Belanger, I know you've been hanging around since the beginning of our meeting. Welcome to our fun every Tuesday. We're thrilled to have you. Would you guys, before I open it up for questions or anything along those lines, do you guys, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would, Madam Chair. Thank you. As one of the past, actually the original president of the local, I have to say that this contract outweighs many of the other contracts that we have had in the past. Lieutenant Fitzgibbons, Lieutenant Lambert worked very diligently with the chief to ensure that we were taking care of his bargaining members, but also you guys were taken care of as the town. They worked extremely hard to get the best contract for all parties involved.
Thank you very much. Mr. Belanger?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did a lot of work with the chief behind the scenes. I am not covered by the bargaining agreement any longer. So I would say that in the work I've done with the chief, I think it's an excellent contract, and it certainly takes care of both sides very well.
Okay, great. Board members, my understanding of this is that we're ratifying it. We're meaning that we're going to, Jen, am I correct? We're going to do it twice. We're going to vote tonight and also in the first meeting in January. Is that right?
Yes.
So we're going to vote twice. Okay.
Yep. And that's,
and,
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. It's only because we didn't have the full complement of, if it was amended agenda, but it wasn't 48 hours completely. So, you know,
Gotcha.
I don't want anybody thinking there's anything being rushed. It isn't. It's actually going to be doubled. But this is a way of trying to, you know, close out the year for the firefighters without waiting till after the year. And it's important for them also for their W-2s and things like that. So I don't want them not to have the benefit of that. And we're ready to go on our side to make that happen.
Great, perfect. So we're simply ratifying it. We're not involved with the negotiations, but it's being presented to us as both sides have agreed to these terms, and we need to sign off on it as the Board of Selectmen. So before we entertain any type of motions, anyone on the board have any questions for any of the parties involved that are here? Okay, then do I have a motion to accept or ratify this contract for the union?
I'll make a motion to ratify the contract as presented for the union.
Excellent, thank you. Do I have a second?
The motion.
Excellent. So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And I too vote yes. So we have three in the affirmative, one abstention, and one absent. Okay. So we will approve it for this evening, and then we will do it all again on January 5th. Congratulations, everyone. I'm sure that took an awful lot of work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. All right. And that is that's the end of our agenda. So do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I will make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second the motion.
Excellent. Mr. Sad, we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
And I also vote yes. So we have 3 in the affirmative and we have 2 absent. And we are all done, everyone. And that is a wrap on 2020.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
It certainly is.
Yes.
Be
Merry
safe,
Christmas,
everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Be
Merry
safe.
Thank you.
Christmas.
Stay safe.